Hi, it's Rob Bryanton. This is the Imagining the 10th Dimension video blog for November 30th, 2007. And today I'd like to talk about creativity. It's kind of where we started back at the beginning of November, and then we sort of went on a roundabout little journey there through different ideas that relate to it. But right now, we're going to go back to the very beginning of those ideas again. And we created a few videos in the last few days with Jack Semple, which I hope you'll be able to watch. If you're watching this show at 10thdimension.com/chat, those videos are being circulated regularly, but they're also posted over at Rever and on YouTube, and are already getting some comments there. So Jack is a master musician, and he's got some great ideas about how music and these ways of thinking about reality can all be tied together. And it's part of what I started out with when I was writing my book in the first place, was thinking about creativity and how that ties into this way of imagining dimensions. So it's great to have somebody like Jack to be able to actually demonstrate with his excellent guitar playing some of those ideas as well. So the blog entry that we're reading from today is also available if you go to 10thdimension.com/blog. And the reason I mention that is a lot of the time in these blog entries, I'm referring to things that if you're reading the text version of it at /blog, there are hyperlinks there that allow you to go to the Wikipedia entries or some of the previous blog entries that are being referred to directly from the links in the current blog that we're reading. So I do invite you to look at that as well. If there's more things you want to know about, there's probably ways for you to get there from the text version of this blog. Today's entry is called Music and the Dance of Creativity. And it goes like this. As a composer, I create things for a living. Some people say, "Oh, I'm not creative." I say, everybody's creative. The videos I was just talking about are of me chatting with one of my favorite musicians, Jack Semple, about some of the ideas that surround this blog entry and the ideas I explore in my book. Creativity is the one thing each and every one of us do every moment of our lives. Our conversations are unscripted. Our actions unchoreographed. It's all one big creative improvisation. And the process of chance, choice, and circumstance that moves our universe from the Big Bang to the unfolded end is, at its root, a creative process as well. Here are two things I've been saying with this project. Life is any process that becomes interested in what happens next. And that which ceases to change ceases to exist. In a previous blog entry called How to Make a Universe, we imagined starting from quantum indeterminacy, selecting a starting point, and a successive series of quantum frames which become the line of time for a particular universe. Keeping in mind that for our universe, each quantum frame is a particular now that is one Planck length away from the next, we can see how the patterns in the information that becomes our reality can have groupings and interactions, and places that those resulting interference patterns and shapes begin and end. Whether we're talking about vibrating superstrings, memes, or life itself, the moment that something stops changing, vibrating, interacting, as we move from one quantum frame to the next, the thing that is represented by those motions ceases to become part of the timeline being created. Which brings to mind an eternal dance of creativity, both at the quantum level and out here at the physical level as we navigate on our fourth dimensional line of time through the fifth dimensional probability space available to us, which is curled up down at the Planck length for each successive now. In his wonderful and enlightening book, This Is Your Brain on Music, Daniel Levitin, as a neuroscientist and former rock musician, engineer, producer, reveals some startling things about the dance of information that is encoded into music. According to Daniel, in the majority of the world's languages, the verb to sing also means to dance, which shows us how intimately tied together music and the physical expression of emotion are for we human beings. He also reveals that scans of neural activity in people who are listening to, performing, or even composing music reveal that this is not a primarily right brain function as many had surmised. In fact, activities involving music, appear to trigger activity in almost all parts of the brain that have been studied in Dr. Levitin's research. As a composer, of course, I admit to a strong bias towards any research that shows how magical and fully engaging music can be. And any time that I'm asked to create a piece of music, I marvel at music's power to connect emotions across space and time, to entrain people's heartbeat or breath, to cause them to move in a joyful way or become agitated and fearful. All of this ties into the ideas that we've been talking about here. We're all patterns in time and space, memes and spines that are interacting to create life as we know it. We're also part of really big picture memes, which are patterns in the highest dimensions that have caused our universe as it exists to be the one that we're in. And saying this is not necessarily invoking higher spiritual powers. It's a simple statement of fact to say that our universe exists as one out of many possible universes within the multiverse. And the patterns that organized this information that became our reality are part of the creativity, the grouping and symmetry that is innate within any pattern, be that random or guided. There's a great Google Tech Talks video featuring Dr. Stuart Hameroff, which says that modern consciousness research has been exploring how every instant that the brain interacts and processes the incoming data from the external world can be thought of as a frame of consciousness, and this is being referred to by researchers as a bing. According to their studies, the average human being is operating at somewhere between 30 and 90 bings per second. In my field, this seems significant because the lowest note on a piano is at 28 cycles per second. And the video in North America historically has been shown at 29.97 frames per second, both numbers being just on the bottom edge of that bings per second range. In other words, for human beings, any repetitive pattern that is above 30 cycles per second tends to be perceived as being continuous. Musical notes and quantum frames of time, for instance, and vibrations or patterns that repeat more slowly than that begin to be perceived as individual events.